But I will say that the female to male are more successful because female voices deepen with hormonal treatment, whereas male voices don't.
What does the trans issue look like through the lens of studying twins? Are there many studies out there and research on one twin transitioning and another one choosing not to, or some variation of that?
I wouldn't say there are many studies out there, but there are some. And in fact, I've contributed 3 case studies that I've come across. And it seems that some of these twins were discordant, meaning that one transitioned and one did not. And that seems, how can that be when it's such a fundamental part of their behavior? But I think it goes back to something in the womb, something to do with cell development or exposure to prenatal hormones, something like that, that really changes them in terms of their developmental trajectories. And it's amazing. In my book, Indivisible by Two, which came out in 2004 and 5, there's a case study in there of a twin who just knew that she was a boy. She just felt like a boy right away. Her sister never did. Her sister was a cheerleader and very feminine in her identity. And eventually that twin transitioned. But in a later case study that I published with Dr. Diamond, we found a set of identical male twins raised apart who both transitioned independently from being male to female. Yes. And that's a very compelling case. So obviously it was something genetic, something biological, prenatal, or some combination of the two that ended up in those similar outcomes.
Yeah. So the male twins that were born together, raised apart, they both transitioned independently of one another. They had no idea. And then the sisters, one transitioned and the other one didn't.
Right. And actually,
that's so fascinating.
And those, I don't know what the current, I don't know about the current statistics, but at least when I wrote those papers, it was more common to have male transitioning to female than female to male, because I think that females have an easier time living in a male world. You know, they can wear male clothes, whereas males who wear female clothes are ostracized and obviously stick out. Females can hide this a lot more. So we give females a lot more plasticity. We allow for tomboyishness, but we don't allow for sissy-ishness in boys. So yeah, I think that's the reason why you see more male to female than female to male. But I will say that the female to male are more successful because female voices deepen with hormonal treatment, whereas male voices don't. So that's something to think about.
So female voices deepen,
but I'm all for
female voices deepen, and male voices, it's harder to raise them, like to get them to sound more female.
That's right. And they often have to have speech therapy. I know that there are a lot more resources for children now, for teens, and I think that that's a good thing. I think everybody should be allowed to be themselves.
How much do you suspect the environment plays a role in someone deciding to become trans, or do you suspect it's mostly genetic?
Well, you know, I think some cases are genetic. I think some have to do with some biological prenatal hormonal influences. And then there's been some literature lately about trendiness that, you know, it seems like there's a lot going on, so maybe I'll hop on the bandwagon for a short time. You know, there's a lot of things going on. I really can't say which is more important or whatever.